Tina York repeatedly insults me and questions my judgment regarding student Lisa Black, suggesting a connection to Justin Hunt and calling both me and Lisa dim-witted. I then reveal my identity to a horrified Tina. What will happen to Tina now? And what's the truth behind the Lisa-Nora-Justin connection? I didn't know I was slow or dim-witted. Tina sputtered, her eyes wide with disbelief. I wasn't talking about you, But the implication of my words finally seemed to dawn on her. The words failed her. I, however, had already turned my attention to the task at hand, striding purposefully into the operating room. Tina, still frozen in place, simply stared after me, her mind clearly struggling to reconcile the lazy, seemingly unremarkable woman with the legendary Athena. No, her wide eyes seemed to scream. This has to be a dream. Inside the OR, everyone was moving with a focused efficiency, preparing for their assigned roles. The small patient lay still and unconscious on the operating table. I donned a pair of sterile gloves, my movements precise, and began to draw the delicate incision lines on the child's head with a surgical marker. Then I stepped back, my hand outstretched for a scalpel. "Dr. York?" A voice, sharp with professional urgency, snapped Tina back to a semblance of awareness. I registered Tina's dazed state. With a visible effort, she picked up a scalpel and moved forward to begin the craniotomy. My brow furrowed imperceptibly. My gaze swept across the room, taking in the focused intensity of the team. The earlier awe at meeting Athena had vanished, replaced by the serious professionalism demanded by the situation. Lisa, a newcomer to this environment, her initial nervousness still evident, stared intently at the patient, her movements precise as she prepared her instruments. Even Tina, who had deliberately antagonized Lisa, seemed outwardly focused. A flicker of relief touched me. Lisa, despite her timidity outside the OR, possessed a core of competence. Tina, however, an experienced surgeon, moved with a hesitant uncertainty that belied her years. Too reckless, I thought, a coldness settling in my gaze. I stepped forward, my hand gently but firmly stopping Tina's movement. "I'll do it instead." The tension in the room shifted, a silent acknowledgement of the chief surgeon's authority. No one questioned my decision. Tina, however, glared at me, her resentment palpable. But even she knew better than to argue at this crucial stage. She stepped back, her fists clenching at her sides. I lowered my head, my focus narrowing to the delicate task before me, and began the operation. The room fell silent, the only sounds the rhythmic beeping of monitors and the quiet rustle of sterile instruments. "Forceps," I requested, my hand extended behind me without looking. Tina, relegated to a position further back, hesitated for a fraction of a second, clearly still reeling. Then she snatched an instrument from the table and thrust it towards me. I didn't take it. My voice when I spoke was frigid, laced with a biting sarcasm. "Can't you distinguish between forceps and hemostats, Dr. York? Were you truly the head of surgery at your previous hospital? Are your patients still alive? I'm beginning to question the judgment of whoever hired you." Each word was a precise, surgical strike, aimed directly at Tina's professional pride. The students around us exchanged uneasy glances. Tina's face flushed crimson, her control finally snapping. "Stop insulting me!" she hissed, her voice trembling with fury. Before anyone could react, she hurled the instrument in her hand directly at me. The others in the OR were frozen, caught off guard by the sudden violence. I, however, remained calm, my focus unwavering. "Forceps," I repeated, my voice cutting through the stunned silence. Despite the brief chaos, the operation proceeded smoothly. 4 hours later, the delicate procedure was complete. I stepped aside, instructing Michael, "Stitch the wound." "Got it," he replied, his voice now filled with a newfound respect. The others moved to assist him. Then I finally looked at Tina, a disturbing tableau of unprofessionalism. Director Shaw and the others stood before her, his face a thundercloud of disapproval. "You have disgraced yourself, Tina," he said sternly, his voice low and dangerous. "How could you resort to violence in the operating room? If it weren't for Athena's quick thinking, you could have killed the patient." Tina's eyes widened in shock, the gravity of her actions finally sinking in. Director Shaw delivered his verdict, his voice cold and final. "Your medical license will be revoked. The university will also rescind your professorship and dismiss you, effective immediately." My license, my career, ruined. Panic clawed at Tina's throat. She scrambled to sit up, her voice a desperate plea. "Director Shaw, I..." Before she could utter a coherent sentence, a police officer stepped forward. "Dr. York, the patient's family have filed a report accusing you of endangering their child's life. Please come with me." Tina was speechless, her face a mask of horror. While the officer led her away, I changed out of my surgical attire, my movements slow and deliberate, the exhaustion finally catching up to me. I was about to leave the floor when a voice called my name. "Miss Smith?" Surprised, I turned around. Joel Smith stood not too far away, his gaze fixed on me, a thoughtful scrutiny in his narrowed eyes. Tina's downfall was a direct consequence of her arrogance and her inability to see beyond her own ambition. But what consequences awaited me? My identity was still a closely guarded secret, yet Michael now knew. And Joel, what did he know or suspect? The relief of a successful surgery was overshadowed by a growing sense of being watched, of secrets about to unravel. What was Joel's game? And how much longer could I keep the truth hidden?
Hi, Nora here. If you are wondering what happens next, then download the Pocket FM app and listen to the exciting episodes of Saving Nora Now with the link in the description.